I had an old banjo, it was strung with twine. Only song that it could pick was trouble on my mind. Trouble on my mind, boys, trouble on my mind. If trouble don't kill me, I'll live a long time. Trouble on my mind. So how do we play this piece of music? First thing we got to do is make sure our instruments are in tune. This tune is in standard tuning, standard banjo tuning, G, D, G, B, D. But as you know, I'm one full step below that. So I'm actually an F, C, F, A, C. Or thereabouts. So for those of you, I know you guys probably get tired of hearing me explain this, but for those who are new, and haven't figured this out yet and might be wondering, the reason that I tune my banjos lower like this is because I'm a banjo singer, and I hope you are too. But my voice, I cannot sing up in standard G tuning. I can't really sing anything on the first string very well. It's too high pitched for me. I start cracking and sounding like a fool. But if I tune everything relatively down to F or even E, that's much easier for my natural voice is an E or F, I've found over the years. So that's why I do that. And if you're somebody who struggles with singing with some of these banjo pieces, experiment with maybe capoing up. You might need the banjo higher, or down tuning. You might need the banjo lower, so for you to be able to cover that full range of notes. So okay, that's enough of that. Let's get on to the piece at hand here, Trouble on My Mind. This is a wonderful banjo song. I think it's important. It's an important song to, to keep alive and to transmit out to others. These all are, but this one really is. I really like this song. It tells a story. It's got some dark humor in it. It's my kind of song. And also, like I said, I think this is an earlier banjo piece. Just a hunch. I don't have any way to prove that, but it strikes me as earlier, sort of a pre-railroad, perhaps even pre-Civil War song. One thing that makes me think it's old is just the sort of casual mention by the protagonist that he's hitched up to a dedicated public whipping post and publicly whipped in Lynchburg, Virginia, presumably for vagrancy or something like that, because he says all he did was he just went to town to buy some booze and he got hitched up and whipped, probably for vagrancy. Vagrancy was outlawed in the South, going way back, and up until relatively recently, they used to. I know that the public whipping of white people was outlawed in most places in the South in the 1820s. I want to say somebody out there knows for sure, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe in most states it became illegal to whip a white man publicly in the 1820s or 1830s. So if this is by some chance an Anglo white song, that would date it pretty handily to the 1820s, 1830s, period, maybe even earlier. Now, I think it's more likely that this song probably has its origins in African American, music community in those days. In which case, somebody can find out when the last black person was whipped publicly in Lynchburg, Virginia. It probably went on, through the Civil War, after the Civil War. I shudder to think they might have been, God knows what they were doing to black folks. And so it's hard to date the song, but that's just a little discussion for us to think about. I happen to think it's earlier. So there's the way I, of course, learned this song from George Gibson of Knott County, Kentucky. George, I believe, told me that he learned it from Rufus Crisp. Now, I'm not sure, probably from a recording. I haven't been able to find that recording of Crisp. George may have learned it in person, but he did meet some of those characters when he was younger. I know he met Roscoe Holcomb, and I know he met Banjo Bill Cornett when he was younger. So he may have met and seen Rufus Crisp play. I don't know. I've never asked him that. But anyhow, so when George plays it, he plays a very straight overhand version. He doesn't make any chords. He doesn't make a C chord or a D chord like I sometimes do. He never comes down and notes the 5th fret like a lot of people do. Most of this song is all it's in his left hand and on the first string of the banjo. So I'll try to demonstrate that. I didn't make any chord shapes. I never came up here. So that's the way I played it for many years as a youngster growing up. And you know, one thing George used to tell me was he said that, and somebody told him when he was younger, that there's more music in the first string than on any other string of the 5-string banjo. That's most of that music. Tons of it comes out of the first string, and it's because when the way George plays, and I play a lot too, is lots of left-hand work, and lots of that left-hand activity will often be my little ring finger just plucking this first string. I use it almost like it's an extra thumb string. It's just I'm plucking up there with my ring finger instead of on the 5th string with my thumb. So that's interesting. I've discussed that in earlier videos, but I'm kind of getting sidetracked and wasting a lot of time on things that I think are interesting here. So when I moved up to Boone, North Carolina, and I started interacting with those musicians in that area, younger musicians, mostly people like Martha Spencer, Josh Hayes, Steve Kruger, and I think I saw, you know, Bill and Janice Birchfield play it this way, Matt Kenman, people like that. They do more chord shapes. They make a full C chord, full D chord, and they come down to the 5th fret when they play this song. So I'll try to demonstrate that. Something like that. You'll notice I made a full C, a full D, and I came down to the 5th fret a few times. So that's basically how they kind of play it around Western North Carolina, Southwest Virginia, in my experience, with lots of drop thumbs and probably tuned up, capoed up to D to play with a daggum fiddle player, right? Anyhow, so let's jump into the actual noting of this song. I'll just show you all the basic way first. Starts off open on the 1st string. Trouble, trouble, trouble on my mind. And then you go to the 2nd string. If trouble don't kill me, I'll live a long time. Very simple. That's all on the 2nd fret. Most of it's open. So open 1st string, open 1st string, open 1st string, then to the 2nd 1st string. Then 1st string noted at the 2nd fret. And the 2nd string open. That gets you your trouble, trouble, trouble on my mind. And then back to the 1st string open. If trouble, then note it. Don't, then open it. Kill, 2nd string, kill me. I'll live a long time. And all that is the 1st string, 2nd string, 3rd string noted, the 2nd fret, and the 3rd string open. I'll live a long time. Trouble, trouble, trouble on my mind. If trouble don't kill me, I'll live a long time. And then you get your neat little run, my favorite part of the song, where he goes, live a long time, boys, live a long time. That's just this. So all that is you start off on the 2nd string open, and then you know this is another D chord. This is a straight D chord up here, or D7th, I think they call that, where you put your index finger on the 2nd string at the 2nd fret, put your middle finger on the 3rd string at the 2nd fret. Sorry, 1st string at the 1st fret, 3rd of the 2nd, and that gives you this. I think that's a D7th chord. So that's what you're doing. Trouble, and then you're plucking off with your index finger, and then you're going to note the 3rd string at the 2nd, then the 3rd string open, and then the bass string open. That's how you get boys, trouble on my mind, boys, trouble on my mind. And then you probably hit the 3rd string open again at that point. And then back to, you know, if trouble don't kill me, I'll live a long time. And that's the same little run that the song basically starts with. Nothing to it. So that gives you the trouble, trouble, trouble on my mind. If trouble don't kill me, I'll live a long time. Live a long time, boys, live a long time. If trouble don't kill me, I'll live a long time. So you see that basic way? I'm not doing hardly any left-handed activity. I'm not making any chords either. Most of that song you could just play it with your left hand in your pocket. to it. So let's see, the slightly more fancier fiddle playing way that they do. That's very similar. Trouble, trouble. And then, so instead of just hitting the first string open a few times, you go trouble, trouble, and then so I like to slide from the second to the fifth. Trouble on my mind, and then go into the full C chord. If trouble don't kill me. And what I'm doing there is while I'm holding the full C chord, taking my ring finger and going, if trouble don't kill me, I'll live a long time. And then it's the same. And the other thing I can do, what's the same way you can make the same sound as the second string? Well, you can note the third string at the 4th fret. I hope it's not too windy. But if you note the 4th string at the 4th fret, the 3rd string at the 4th fret, you get the 2nd string open. So what I like to do, instead of just going off the 2nd string open, I like to slide or do my long hammer from the 2nd to the 4th fret. So it sounds the same, but you get more of a boom, ba-da boom, 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 ba-da boom, boom, like this. Just a different sound, so you can break up the monotony. Anyhow, y'all, I see I'm going a little long here. I better wrap this video up. I hope I didn't move too fast or try to put too much information in that. If I did, let me know, and I'll address it in a future video on this. Look out for the close-ups, and thanks for looking. You'll see me soon.